Welcome back to the Main Street to the World podcast. We do want to thank you for those likes, shares, and subscriptions. So we have a bit of a treat for you today. This is part 1 in our series about American Queen Voyages expedition cruises to Alaska. So we actually have recorded a couple of these episodes in pieces while we were on the cruise in Alaska. And I'm going to be able to share with you some of that today, and then some you will be able to see next week. So the first one we are going to talk to is, her name is Desha. Her English name is Rachel Moreno, and she is with the tourism board for the Tlingit people. And so we'll have that one for you today. And then we're also going to have another guest. We're going to talk a little bit with Christina and Jess. So Christina is one of the whale experts on board. She's a naturalist and a Zodiac driver. And Jess is the expedition leader. So we're going to have both of these for you on today's episode. And then next week, we're going to have Olin. He is from Cal Poly, and we're also going to have Sophia, and she is also a naturalist, and she also specializes in whales. So we have a lot of great stuff for you coming up in the next couple of weeks. We're also going to have another chat with Scott from American Queen Voyages, a little bit more about the expedition cruises. So that will be coming as well. So I hope you enjoyed this chat with Desha, and then we'll come on a little bit later and introduce for you Jess and Christina. Well, we are very pleased to welcome Desha Moreno. Is it with a curled R or no?
Oh, no, not necessarily.
Moreno,
yes,
okay. Her English name is Rachel Moreno,
Yes.
and she is from the Tlingit
tribe.
tribe. I keep trying to learn how to say it. It takes us a little time to sometimes understand all of that. And she is with us on American Queen Voyages Ocean Victory, which is their Alaskan exhibition cruise. And so we are very thrilled to have you here with us today so that we can learn about your culture.
Thank you. I'm pleased to be here.
So could you introduce yourself to us? Let us know. Tell us about your tribe.
Okay, well, I'll do my formal Tlingit introduction. This follows our protocol. Desha yucheto sauk, yechdahatsati chaak yadi ayachat. Tlingedi ayachat kagwantan yadi ayachat. What I just said is my Tlingit name is Desha. It means the top woman of the clan. I got my great-grandmother's name. She was the daughter of a chief, and she married a chief from another village. And then I also said in my language, my moiety under my mother's raven, my clan under my mother's dog salmon, and then my moiety under my father is eagle, and my subclan under my father is Kagwantan killer whale.
Oh, I love the killer whale part.
Yeah, yes. Uh-huh.
Can you just tell us about moiety? What does that mean?
Well, we borrowed the French word because the French word moiety means two halves of a whole. And so our entire tribe is divided by moieties, the eagle and raven. And so we're matrilineal. We follow our mother's side. And so my mother being of the raven moiety, I'm raven, and my children are raven. My father's mother was eagle, so he was eagle.
Okay. Mm-hmm. We see you in your beautiful regalia.
Thank you, yes.
Can you tell us a little bit about the significance of your hat and the
ermine?
What do you call it? The ermine that come off?
Yes, the ermine, there's two on my cedar hat, and this typically signifies status. Only people of status can have the ermine on their hat. The hat is woven of cedar bark, so Tlingit women would strip fine pieces of cedar from the tree, around the tree, not taking off very much, just a little from each tree, and they would process the bark and strip it into fine strips and then weave hats and baskets, mats, even sails for our canoes. And then my robe is a contemporary rendition of what we used to use before contact, which would have been hides with natural dye painted clan crests. This is wool and with buttons, commercial buttons. When the Hudson Bay Trading Company, when the Russians and other explorers came up, they had Hudson Bay blankets. And so they traded with the Tlingit people and other people for the blankets, for the wool blankets, in exchange for things like hides and food and medicinal plants.
That's fascinating.
Mm-hmm.
I know, it's amazing. So what traditions that, have you are still being followed today?
Well, we're following what we know, what the remnants we have left of our culture. After contact, the laws dictated that we weren't allowed to speak our language in public. In order to become a citizen, we had to take on a name that could be pronounced, like English names. We had to send our children to school, move into towns instead of our villages or fish camps, and we had to only speak English in public and join a church just to be citizens. That didn't necessarily give us the right to vote.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so today our traditions that we follow are what the elders have been able to pass down from generation to generation. My great-grandparents, they were the first to westernize, to assimilate, and so my grandmother spoke Tlingit and English. English was her second language, but she also spoke Japanese because my mother's father was from Japan.
Oh, okay.
And so, and then my mother didn't learn to speak Japanese or Tlingit because by then her parents didn't want her to experience the difficulty and being in trouble and punished for speaking Tlingit in public. So she didn't learn Tlingit.
So how did you learn it?
Oh my gosh. It took me 3 days to learn how to introduce myself.
I can understand that.
Only 3 days? I think
Oh,
that's
no,
impressive.
3 days. And so what I'm learning, what I know now is what I've learned. And so I'm constantly in flux of learning more and more. And so this is a privilege to be able to share it with visitors, just with the little bit that I've learned. There are programs in the schools to teach Tlingit and other
good.
native languages. Children can take it from Head Start on up through college. And then because of, one good thing that came from COVID is all the Zoom meetings. And so instructors began to teach our language via Zoom.
Okay.
So anyone could take the language classes.
That's fabulous.
Yes.
It's nice to have some assimilation,
Yes.
but to still be able to retain your culture and your language.
Right.
And then that's, I think, how we're supposed to be as a melting pot.
Right. So we can express ourselves in our language. There's words in our language that don't exactly translate into English, but we know what we're talking about. There was an elder named Walter Sobolov who said, even if you're not fluent in Tlingit, you still think in Tlingit.
Oh, okay.
Yes, and I think that's very true. So we teach, we still know how to do our dances, traditional dances, and we make new songs and dances as well. But the ones that go way back into our history are very important songs. They retell of events that happened to us or that we did amongst our society.
Now, how long have you been kind of working with American Queen Voyages, or,
This is a brand new contract for Alaska Native Voices this year. I am the program manager for Alaska Native Voices. It's a nonprofit that's a subsidiary of Huna Totem Corporation. And Huna Totem Corporation operates the Icy Strait Point in Huna, the big destination with the zip line, and now they have a gondola ride, restaurants.
Gondola ride. That seems a little strange.
I know. It's a high-speed one. And,
wow.
There's restaurants, there's gift shops, there's a Tlingit dance show there, and storytelling. So it's a wonderful destination.
Cool
yes.
to see. Now, I've heard you mention before and talk about tribal tourism.
Right.
What is that? And, how is that? How can someone try to get involved in partake in this?
Well, it's not it's not new, but Alaska Native Voices has been in operation for 24 years, and so
Wow.
we started out just having simple contracts with the cruise lines at the ports. We did port presentations, a welcome, which is part of our Tlingit protocol. So we'd welcome visitors to Juneau, and then we started to extend the program to Glacier Bay. So we have a crew that lives in Gustavus, and they drive every day 9 miles to the Bartlett Cove dock. They catch a small pilot vessel, and they board the ships with their park rangers for the day as it goes up Glacier Bay. So it's not a new concept, but it's growing. There are a lot of other tribes and native groups around Alaska that are getting into tourism because the visitor wants to know, number one, that we even exist, and number two, how we're doing, what we do, how we lived, and what we can share with people. And that's a huge benefit to even asking about tribal tourism. I was on a national tourism board of directors for an organization called IANTA, the American Indian Alaska Native Tourism Association. And so through that organization, I've been able to work at the 30,000 foot level with getting legislation passed through Congress called the Native Act. It's Native American Tourism and Improving Visitor Experience.
Oh, okay.
And it was introduced to Congress through Senator Schatz from Hawaii, and it was passed and signed into law by President Obama in September of 2016.
Oh, wow.
And now the organization receives federal funding to implement and carry out the Native Act. So federal agencies that have federal money for tourism and transportation, they will be working with tribes, if they haven't already, to bring the local tribal people near national parks into tourism.
Yeah.
And so it's us telling our own story.
So I'm actually going to ask Scott a question. So for those who haven't met Scott, if you want to come just a little bit more, say hello to the camera. Scott is our representative from American Queen Voyages. And I want to ask you a little bit about itinerary because Desha, unfortunately, is leaving us tomorrow morning in Ketchikan. So on the itinerary going up, we have you for Vancouver to Ketchikan. What about the itineraries coming down?
Definitely.
They get them at the end, or
vice versa, basically. So we do the expedition and the city visits at the beginning, and then at the when we meet at Ketchikan.
Okay. Okay. So you're pretty much on here for 2 nights, 3 nights, 2 nights?
Well, 6. We do the turnaround. So we
Yeah.
board in Ketchikan, sail down to Vancouver, pick up the next guests on board, and then we sail back up to Ketchikan and disembark.
Okay.
The vessel goes on to Sitka.
Yeah.
Each
So it
way.
sounds like you have a week on, week off almost.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
Okay.
Are you the only representative that's partaking in this, or
In
are
this
there others?
cruise, yes. We have contracts with other cruise lines.
Oh, great.
This one, Patricia did the cruise last week, and I'm on this week just to see what it is that we can provide and what we need to do to support our guides on board, because this is a bigger ship than some, but smaller than others.
Mm-hmm.
So the clientele is different. They've been so wonderful. The visitors, they just really touched my heart. And so I wanted to see for myself what this was like, because it is a new contract and we want to take care of our customers.
Mm-hmm. Well, we can say personally that we feel like you have.
Yeah,
Thank you.
absolutely.
We've learned a lot.
Absolutely.
Not as much as we should have, because we didn't do
Well,
as
it's only
great on
been-
the trivia
I know.
game.
We
But
missed a few of the trivia questions, but
I got
no.
haddock and halibut confused in my brain.
Oh, no.
But so as guests coming on, and Scott may be able to help with this answer too, is like what kind of excursions or adventures could someone partake in to learn specifically more about the tribes along the route?
I don't think we have anything lined up right now.
Okay.
Regarding that, I know when we visit the different cities like Ketchikan, Wrangell, Petersburg, and we do cultural inclusions there.
Great.
A lot of our trips that are included. For example, Petersburg, we'll actually go to the Norwegian town hall and learn more about how the town was founded, They might do a ceremonial dance there too, or we might have some of their snacks. But it's a learning experience on all the included tours. Just depends on which city that we're in.
Sure, that's perfect. And how many, I know you've told us, but to share, how many tribes still exist in Alaska today?
There's 11 different native groups, all with different languages, different stories of creation and migration and movement. But there's within that, there are different dialects within those tribes. So if you're talking tribes, there's, in the whole U.S., there's over 500 tribes.
Okay.
Over 200, about 226 are in Alaska alone, because every community and village is considered its own sovereign tribe.
Oh, wow.
And has a government-to-government relationship with the United States.
Okay.
Wow. And how many members are within your tribe today, roughly?
Oh, gosh, there's probably 45, 50,000. I could be off.
Oh.
Yes, but that's not full blood.
Sure.
We've intermarried and mixed quite a bit, and we're everywhere. We are all over the United States and some other countries. So there are quite a few Native people. In Alaska, there's probably about 20% of the population is Alaska Native, which makes up about 150,000 maybe. People are Alaska Native.
Wow, that's fabulous.
Are there still challenges that exist? I mean, I know there are, but what challenges exist today for the tribes? Like what can people do to kind of make things better for the tribes? Or
well, amongst ourselves, we could learn our languages. It is coming back. Like I said, it's being taught in the schools. Parents should be encouraging their children to learn the language, and they should support that. They should take it themselves, and then having their children participate in the various camps, the culture camps that are offered. There's so many. My son goes to a lot of the culture camps, and he's learned how to carve paddles. He's learned how to do some dancing. He tries to read the written language. It wasn't a written language before, but with tone marks and adaptations, it is a written language now. And so there's a lot of books being written about our culture and our people. So just supporting tribal tourism, just coming up and asking to be included on a cruise line that has a cultural interpreter on board is one of the only ways right now you can learn about us, or visiting communities and seeing some of the dance shows that are being offered, talking to us. That's number one. We're always happy to share.
We love learning about different cultures. And you mentioned that there's not a lot that are 100%.
Right.
I mean, we're not. I know that I have ancestors that were from Sweden and France and a little bit of German, a little bit of who knows what else. So, I mean, that's normal for, other Americans as well to have that. One of the things we did learn, we've had several different presentations that you've done on the ship through the last couple of days. And one of I think it was the very first one you did, you taught us a little bit about, how your people traveled and traded.
Yes.
And this is quite fascinating. So I'd love you to talk a little bit about that.
Well, we did canoe journeys, and we traveled as far south as Chile and into the Pacific Ocean to visit with the Hawaiians and the New Zealanders, the Maori people. And we did these trade journeys regularly. And so we traded with all the indigenous people along the coast. And then we followed the stars, the current, and the wind and the season to make these various journeys. And they came to visit us too. So it's in our oral history that we made these journeys and met these people, and it's in theirs that they came to see us.
How long would one of those journeys take?
Oh,
I'm
gosh.
thinking
a canoe?
Yeah,
Like, I
I'm
can't
thinking
even
maybe a
imagine in
couple
a
of
canoe
years.
going to Chile.
Right. Well, because, like I mentioned, the Tlingit women wove sails, they could utilize the wind.
Yep.
And the way that the dugout canoes were made, instead of riding over the waves, they cut through the waves.
Okay.
And so it's the way the bow is designed. And so that probably helped. And then just knowing the route, having done it for millenniums, it has been the way that we knew. So we always did these trade journeys, and we've always been ocean going.
Mm-hmm. I just can't imagine. I mean,
I can't.
we have a hard enough time sometimes on a cruise ship.
I
Never
know.
mind,
Right.
being in water
Yeah.
in the rain.
A canoe.
Yeah.
Going down the Pacific.
Well, these were 70-foot long canoes.
It's still.
Oh,
Yes.
wow.
It's
Yes.
still.
Yes.
Well, you have to have space because you're trading, so therefore you're bringing stuff home. Like, you
Right.
need to have somewhere to put the stuff in that long journey to come home, but
Right.
I can't
And
imagine.
there would be several canoes going.
Mhm. Wow, it's incredible. Absolutely incredible. They're way braver than I am.
Oh, yeah, definitely, definitely. So are there any important messages that you've been really trying to relay as you talk to guests and, different generations and that? What should people know and understand about the tribe?
Well, that we're not all the same. We don't all speak the same language. And so the people further up north, in the northern parts of Alaska, they're Inuit people. And there's Inupiaq and Yupik Inuits. And then in the interior are the Athabascan. Along the Aleutian Islands and south of Anchorage is the Aleut, Aluptik, Unangan, Sukyak people. And then in southeast are the Tlingit, Haida, and Tsimshian. And then there's also Eyak, which was kind of a mix of probably Athabascan, Tlingit, and Aleut people. So
Wow.
they have their own language too. So theirs has almost completely died out.
Oh,
Ours has not. In Western Alaska, among the Inuit people, they probably have been able to retain their language much more than we have. For many people in the villages, English is their second language. Their indigenous language is their first.
I don't have a
Good.
problem with that. I like
I-
that.
I
actually.
Yeah.
I think it's good for everyone to know English.
Right.
I really do think it's
Yeah.
good so that we can all communicate.
Right.
Because I know you gave us the word for cell phone, which
Oh.
is more like a phrase.
Yes. And
Well-
that's kind of an interesting, just mentioning that, how you have to find words for new words that are
Right.
exist.
Mm-hmm. So the word adaptation for cell phone is a 2-day yuchat duatangai at, and that translates to the box in your pocket or pouch that talks.
That's
It's
just
amazing.
That's what it is.
yeah. It's just funny to
Yeah.
to hear this big long name, and I
Yes.
get why, because it's describing
Right.
something, and cell phones obviously did not exist a million years ago.
Right.
So it's hard to have something from the original language that would actually do that.
Mhm.
Yes,
I'm sure any of the technological advances that we've had have all had to have new words
Oh
created.
yes, absolutely.
Like, we do that too, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
They're always
20
adding
years
words to the
ago-
dictionary.
you would never have heard of Google it.
Oh no, no. Or Yahoo wouldn't have been a.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was a phrase cowboys used.
Yeah, that's true. That's
Mhm.
true.
Yeah.
That's true. So thinking back to your ceremonials that you have, I know they're very, very important to your
Yes.
tribe. Do you have a favorite?
I think the Kuik or potlatch.
Mm-hmm.
It's a memorial ceremony, and it's for someone who's passed away about a year or two previous. And so when my uncle, who was an eagle, Whitey, when he passed, my cousin, his son, invited all of us ravens as the honored guests. And so in the time it takes to prepare, they commission and buy and make gifts to give to all of the invited guests, the ravens. And so the ravens support them by donating money, and then the other eagles support the family by donating money. And so when the Kuik comes along, it's not only a memorial to honor the person who passed away, but they'll also combine it with naming ceremonies and adoptions and even weddings. Some Kuiks are done to celebrate the raising of a totem or the completion of a house screen that's in the back of the clan house. So those are very important. And in 1912, the government and other entities like churches thought that those were a pagan ceremony. And they said, well, you can't do those anymore. We're going to put an end to that. And so at the 1904 potlatch in Sitka, they invited people thinking this would be the last one. And a lot of people came from all over to be there to witness it. And so what they figured out to do was they did this potlatch, but then they continued to do them in secrecy so that we wouldn't lose this important ceremony to our people. Because one of the most important functions that we have that follows protocol is we call it putting someone away. When they pass away, you do the funeral rites and everything exactly correctly and respectfully. And so if a people can't do that, that just ruins the society, I think. And so this we continue to do.
Yeah, I'm very happy that you're able to do that still.
Yes.
And that, that you have that precious experience. So how many are in your family, your direct family? I know you have some children and some grandchildren.
Yes, I have 6 children I raised, and I have 12 grandchildren.
Oh, and you have some grandchildren that are the same age as your son.
Yes, my youngest son, we got him when he was 6 months old, and he's 15 now. So him and 5 of my grandchildren are all 15 or 16 right now. That's very special.
Yeah. That's funny because their uncle might be a little bit younger than them.
Oh yeah, yes. Yes.
Now, would because he's an uncle, would he be considered an elder to them?
Not an elder. Elder isn't just a chronological age. It's respected status. Okay. And so just because you may be 80 years old, if you haven't done something that has been a benefit and advancement of your people, you may not be called an elder by your tribe. People who have done such things would have earned the term to be called elder.
Okay. Well,
yes.
I'm going to assume that you have earned that with all your
on it.
advocacy for your people and your community. So it's been amazing learning about everything.
Thank you.
I know we've never been exposed. I mean, we're from New England, so I mean, we certainly have local tribes that have been there and the history of that. But we haven't been exposed to Alaskan tribes previously, so it's really interesting to learn and understand.
I think the most important thing visitors should take away from this is to reach out and seek out this kind of experience, because we as a tribe have other tourism opportunities for visitors. Some of us have dance shows that we put on. Some of us, like Huna Totem and Icy Straight Point, have an actual highly developed destination. And so in Anchorage, there's the Alaska Native Heritage Center, which has dwellings that depict what it was like to live in each of the different native villages. And so they have various types of sod houses, a clan house, a driftwood house. They have everything. And so you can learn about all the native cultures there. But if you want to get the hands-on, one-on-one experience, I would seek out the cruise lines that offer our services, or look up what's available in the communities that you're visiting, because many of us tribes do have tourism businesses and gift shops and such.
And for those who are, watching, if you're curious about what options are available, we actually have Rachel's card, so we can contact her and find out what the best option is for you.
Yes.
And one thing I want to just mention for people that you had mentioned the other day about the Silver Hand program, just to make sure that people, as they want to learn more about the tribes and are supporting the tribes, that they're getting true information, true products, and not imposter.
Right. Everywhere you go, there's things that you can buy that weren't made locally or indigenous. And so the state of Alaska has a Silver Hand program, and Alaska Natives can apply to receive those to put on items that they make. So if you're shopping and you want an authentic carved little totem or authentically made moccasins, the ones that have a little black sticker with a silver hand are authentic. The rest probably are not.
Might be made in China.
Yes. You never know.
Yeah. I mean,
And what might be some examples of things that people could, what would be representative of Alaskan art that they could buy, or, handcrafts that have been made?
Right. Well, there's so many artists who create things like my silver bracelets. These are these have carvings.
A little bit?
These have carvings on them of eagles and ravens. And so a long time ago, in order to give some of the native people in Southeast a vocation, the churches and missionaries, they would give them silver spoons, silverware to make into jewelry to sell.
Oh, wow.
So they would have some income. And so in other places, Native people began to sell the baskets that they made that they would normally use to pick berries or cook in or store things in. That became a highly sought after collector item. These robes we buy from each other. We commission the opposite moiety of us to make these. There's an artist in Juneau who has, with another artist, made a resin mold for totems.
Oh,
and
wow.
so it is as authentic as you can get without having to have him carve each one.
Mm-hmm.
And so the designs, the crests that are on them are authentic. And those are very good. They're very well made. So we're getting into that area to produce things that would normally take days. If you wanted a small, authentic totem, you could expect to pay about $200 or $300.
Oh, it's a lot of work.
Yes,
Yeah.
it is.
And
It is a
somebody
lot of
hand
work.
carving that.
Yes.
Yeah.
And painting.
Having the knowledge. The totems that are being recarved now, the ones that are 20, 30 feet high, those, depending on who the artist is, cost about $4,000 or $5,000 a foot
Oh, my word.
to commission to have carved.
Wow.
And they are being carved now.
Oh, good.
Yes.
Wow. Oh, that's amazing.
Mhm.
And I think generally in any culture,
Yes.
a way to help the people is to support them financially by
Yes.
purchasing their goods.
Right, exactly.
It gives them purpose. It
Mhm.
gives them income.
Right.
And I think that's always a healthy way of supporting
Yes, and
cultures.
we appreciate it.
We tend to
Yeah. We'll be
contribute to
supporting
the
the
local economy.
That will be no problem. That will be no problem.
So,
Yes.
any last thoughts that you'd like to leave our listeners and our viewers?
Well, the visitors on this sailing have been so wonderful. And I almost never have a bad experience with visitors. They're so curious and kind. And they've spent money to come here. So they're investing in what it is that they're doing. And that's no small feat. And we recognize that and appreciate it. And we, in exchange, want to give them a memory. We want to give them something of value that they can take home.
Mm-hmm. Well, we're excited to have been here and to have shared this time with you. It's fine. And I lost my train of thought.
Sorry.
Happens a lot. No, it's no worries. We had somebody in the room who happened to have left. Someone who was observing our podcast today. But I know you did say at one point that you were okay with questions that people might not be comfortable asking.
Right. I don't mind answering questions that people feel uncomfortable asking because, those are the questions that they don't know, they don't understand something about our culture. And so if I know what to tell them, I'll tell them.
Mm-hmm.
Or I'll find someone who can. Our people have had to become highly educated to live in this world. And so their education comes from their cultural knowledge and from Western lifestyles, and so the colonization has brought us to the same playing field as everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
So as long as people look at us in that way and treat us that way, we can all get along. We can teach each other things.
Absolutely.
We
And that's what
feel
needs
blessed
to happen.
to have met
Thank
you.
Absolutely.
And blessed that you were really appreciative that you could take time today to talk to us.
Yeah, you're
And
wonderful.
for our viewers and listeners, we will have another guest on shortly. Well, we certainly hope you enjoyed our chat with Desha. And I do want to give a quick note to or mention to our sponsor. We are sponsored by Coasters and Castles Travel, of which April and I are the owners of the agency. We do feature or specialize in theme park travel, ocean, river, of course, expedition cruises. We specialize in all-inclusives. We specialize in and we specialize in Europe. Sorry, losing my train of thought a little bit today. We are actually also accepting new applications. So if you have wanted to be a travel advisor, then now is the time to get started. This business is really booming. It is great because it gives you the chance to own your own business. And when you sign on with Coasters and Castles Travel, we do have a training program for our agents or our advisors I'll go through. And then we also have a wonderful support network. So that's something that we really pride ourselves on. So you are given the opportunity to build your own business with guidance and assistance and mentorship and a wonderful family atmosphere. We are very, very proud of the family that this agency has become. So if you're interested in that, just go to our website, which is travelcnc.com. And then you'll see an About Us button. Click on that and then choose Join Us. And you'll find some information about the role there. And then click on the Get More Information and you'll get our application emailed to you. From there, if you are just looking to have somebody help you out with travel, because travel advisors are the way to go. You really want to have that support system when you are traveling. They're very knowledgeable. We go through a lot of different trainings to make sure that we can fully help our clients. For that, go to the same website, travelcnc.com. You're going to see a big red button that says Get Started Planning Now. Go ahead and click on that. You will then be brought to a page. You can choose an advisor or you can have one of us choose for you. And then we'll reach out and set up a consultation with you. We can also be reached by phone at 844-422-8785. That's our toll-free number. And you can always email us at info@travelcnc.com. So now we're going to go on to hear from Christina, and she will talk a little bit about whales, and then we're going to be following up with that with Jess. But I'll be back in a little bit to introduce Jess to you. Well, today we are excited to welcome Christina with American Queen Voyages. And Christina is a big whale lover, but she's part of the expedition team. So welcome.
Thank you.
So what's your favorite kind of whale?
Orcas. Everybody loves orcas, but I'm loving more and more of these humpback whales. When I was a lot younger, I used to think I'm not going to like humpback whales because everybody loves them. But then I started working with them while living in Hawaii, and it's just like, all right, I guess I'll love them. And they are just the most magnificent things. I do love them so much.
So you live in Maui, correct?
Yeah, Maui, Hawaii.
And you get to see them all the time there.
Yeah, whenever they're there. If January, February, March, if you don't see whales, you got to get your eyes checked.
Well, that's fun. Reason for me to go. Definitely reason for me to go. So how long have you been doing expeditions?
This is my first season. So it's pretty new to me. I've been driving charter, snorkel and whale watching boats for the last year and a half. And I've been working out on the water for about 8 years before that, and took a couple of years off here and there. So we're just on the water a lot.
I'll have to say, as somebody who has some mobility issues, I am super impressed with the team.
Thanks.
And I've been in your Zodiac, and for our expedition, and in your Zodiac to go into the town today, and you have the best expressions. So you were talking about some little
sea lions?
Yeah, it's some little noise somebody made this morning. You went whoop or something like that. I forget exactly what it was. I don't know. It might have been the otters. Maybe it was the otters. The baby otters.
Oh, it was the baby otters.
Yes.
Yeah. Yesterday.
That was yesterday.
Yeah, we were talking about it yesterday. Yeah, the little scream that the baby otters make. That's like it's pretty cute.
Yeah. So we do have some other people in the library with us. So if you hear other voices, that's what that is. So apologize for that. So we saw our mother and a baby, and the mother was laying in the ground, not the ground, laying in the ground, laying in the water, belly up with the baby on the chest.
Otters, not whales.
Yes, yes, but she loves so many animals. So you came on the last voyage with American Queen Voyages, correct?
I have been on board since April 25th.
Okay.
So, I did the VIP tour, and then we started our first charter in Vancouver. So this is my third time going up to Sitka, and so this will be my second round trip.
Okay. And did you just see the orcas and the humpback whales, or what other whales did you see?
This trip we've only seen the orcas and humpback whales, and the last charter coming up around Finn Island, we did see a couple of fin whales along with humpback whales, and then when we were coming down from Sitka into Queen Charlotte Sound on our way down from Vancouver, into Vancouver to go down to Vancouver. I was saying south around Vancouver Island to go to Vancouver. We saw there was this very spread out group of humpback whales, and right in the middle was a fin whale.
Is that normal behavior?
I mean, they're all after the same kind of food.
Okay.
Small little things, and lots of small little things like fish and krill. The little like capelins, herring, sardines, all the same things.
Well, that's very interesting. And you, I'm guessing, are watching and studying some of their behaviors as part of your job.
Yes, so that I can help interpret what's going on. Although the humpback whales do exhibit very different behaviors up here than they do in Maui, since that is their breeding grounds and this is their feeding grounds. So a little bit different things that they do up here. But it's really great to see. I've seen a couple of mom calf pairs, so my little babies are coming up here. They're surviving. Some of them are. Most of them are. Most of them do, really. They have a very good survival rate on their way up. It's like right around 70%. Pretty good.
And whales, are they matriarchal?
Humpback whales are not in any sort of matriarchal society like orcas are.
Okay.
Moms and babies stay together for a year, and about 11 months a year, because she gives birth to the calf in the breeding grounds, takes it up to her feeding grounds, and then completes her job as a mom, takes it back down to the breeding grounds, and then separates from the calf. We don't know how that process goes. It could be like where she's got a real independent kid that doesn't even wave when she drops them off in Hawaii.
Bye-bye! Yeah,
not even that. Or she could have a real like stage 5 clinger, and she's just got to be like, look at that dolphin over there, and then swim the other way. Oh. But we don't really know how that whole thing goes.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, so up here they're doing lots of feeding, getting fattened up for when they do make that migration down to the breeding grounds, because there's no food for them in the breeding grounds. So they have to eat as much as they can up here.
Yeah, and part of that has to do with the amount of plankton that's in these waters, correct?
Plankton, it's like phytoplankton, plankton, small fish, bigger fish, and it works its way up the food chain, but these whales eat the plankton and smaller fish. So things farther down in the food chain.
Because they're baleen whales.
Yes, they don't have any teeth.
Yes. I do know that one. I've been on many, many whale watches in New England, and they also have a lot of humpback whales there. So it's really fun to see out there.
Yeah, they have the Western Atlantic population that breed down around the Caribbean. And then they feed up around Maine.
Yeah. It's always fun having them come up, because if you do get lucky enough to go out in the early spring, that's where they tend to do a lot of the breaching.
They'll do breaching a lot throughout the whole summer, as far as I know, especially in the breeding grounds. My gosh, my whales are they are air happy. They're all trying to dry off.
I like that term. You know, I've not seen one in the wild do that. I'm definitely looking forward to.
Hopefully, so we'll see one on the trip.
I just have to see a whale first. I've only seen the Dall's porpoise, but that was neat. I actually saw some last night.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, we did see some on the way out of the inlet. coming out of the inlet, we were able to see. I really do love our piano player. Tim is awesome. He sings too. It's fantastic.
So you said you saw some Dall's porpoise.
Yeah, when we were coming out past Ketchikan and then starting to head north, right before we made the turn to head north, Lynne and I saw a group of 4, like 2 miles ahead, and a pair about a mile ahead. But then as we were coming up, we got sidetracked and we didn't get to really pay attention to where they were, and therefore like announce it.
Yeah, last night I kept seeing some fins, but they were quick. It was like beep, beep.
Of the Dall's porpoise?
Yeah.
Oh, I think it was. I was talking about the humpback whales. We were seeing the blow.
Oh, yeah. No, I didn't see that. I saw some Dall's porpoise because I saw the fins.
Yeah, we saw some.
And that was all I saw. Is beep, beep.
They're so fast. Unless they're really trying to keep up with the ship, there's no.
They were going the opposite way.
And then they have to go with the ship. Yeah. For us to like make any sort of announcement.
And it was funny because I kept seeing them, and then I thought, oh my goodness, no, I'm not really seeing one. But then I look behind, and there's a little bit of a trail in the water. And I'm like, I am seeing something out there. So
and if they stay really close to the surface, but not break the surface, you can't see that little trail of their fin kicks.
Yeah.
And then they fly out of the water, and they have a over-exaggerated splash for how big a dolphin that they are. It's really interesting. It's just like this whitewater mohawk that they leave. They're so funny.
So, have you done the Antarctica?
No, not yet.
No, not yet.
That's hopefully this winter. We'll see.
You're braver than I am.
Yeah, it'll be our winter, their summer.
It's not that. It's Drake's Passage. I've heard nightmares about that. Yeah, you don't get seasick, I take it.
I do.
Oh, really?
Every once in a while.
You wear a patch?
No, usually boning. Boning's my jam. Dramamine is just not a good choice. But boning or meclizine is the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Both of those work really well when they are.
Well, she is being paid, so we do want to thank you for stopping by.
Thank you so much.
We'll see you tomorrow.
Yeah, we'll see you tomorrow.
Welcome back. So I really hope you enjoyed our chat with Christina. I loved chatting with her. And you will notice there's some background noise in these because we were in the library and there's other people going on. In fact, you'll notice with Jess, we actually get interrupted, and Jess actually isn't able to join us back again after. So we have a very short time with Jess, but you'll have to hear why we got called away. And honestly, we were ready to go as well. So I hope you enjoy the chat with Jess next, and I'll be back on at the very end. So we are excited to welcome Jess. She is the expedition leader with American Queen Voyages on the Ocean Victory. And they're calling. She's always at work, I'm telling you.
Never stopping. Never stops.
Yeah, so we're going to let it sit for a second so we can do that. And they finished, I guess. So, for now.
For now. There's always fun things to be had out here, so they announce it via the radio. That's why.
Yeah.
Not wrong.
So you've been an expedition leader for a while now, correct?
Yes, that's correct. I've been doing it for about this is my 7th summer as a a marine-based expedition leader.
Well, that sounds so much fun.
It is fun. I've been lucky. I've been working in Alaska for this is summer number 7, and then I've been lucky to be in Hawaii and Baja in the winters. It's a really rough life.
Tough life.
It's a really rough life. Hawaiian winters.
That is funny. So today, and I'm going to kind of talk about this because this is your passion. Today we have the opportunity to. It happens. It happens. We had the opportunity to go.
Okay, I'll meet you on that side.
Garnet mining.
Oh, how was it? Did you enjoy it?
We did.
It was good. Yes, I haven't had a chance to look
And
at
I
it.
even brought some with me, of course.
Look at you. Great
I got
job.
some pretty good ones in there.
Wow, 10 points.
Yeah.
I went on this excursion too today. I was there right before you.
Yeah.
And I thought it was absolutely fantastic.
It was
so much fun.
amazing.
Oh,
I will say I'm going to be quite black and blue tomorrow because I hit this knuckle about 50 times and this one about 20 times and this one about 10 times.
Was it worth it for
Absolutely.
your treasures?
I would do it again.
Our only real complaint was that it was too short.
I know, I agree.
I think we would like to have more time doing it. Because, by the time it takes to get up there and get settled and then try to figure out what you're doing, it's like you're just trying to get a rhythm. And then they called like, oh, it's almost time to go. I'm like, what?
I know. I was torn away as well. Yeah. I was chiseling into the mountainside. I had this whole plan going. I was working a seam and peeling off huge, massive chunks of rock. Wow. That's probably why they said, get this girl out of here. It was great.
He told us we could take as many big rocks as we wanted to.
As many rocks as you can carry.
But here's the thing. We have to fly with them on the plane.
Oh, that's right.
Those pesky 50-pound limits.
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
That's carry-ons for.
That's true. That's true.
Yes. But can you tell us a little bit about the expeditions that someone might enjoy when they take a cruise on Ocean Victory?
Yeah, so one thing that I think is really unique about Ocean Victory is that it gives equal attention to a traditional expedition day, and it gives equal attention to a traditional, small, intimate town day. So we alternate back and forth. So we go to cute little quintessential towns, Petersburg, Wrangell. We end up in Sitka, which is a local favorite. And then we alternate that by doing full-on expedition days, which are kayaking, zodiacking, hands-on science presentations that are designed by an institute called Sitka Sound Science Center. And we work with our scientists on board to create those and facilitate those. And then we also do naturalism presentations. So on an expedition day, you are fully immersed in learning about the environment and being here with it, seeing whatever you'll see out there on the Zodiac or the kayak, and then coming back and exploring further through lecture and hands-on science. So it's a half-half.
Yeah.
It's the best of both worlds on a gorgeous ship.
I think it's a stepping stone to somebody who might want to do regular expeditions.
Yes, that's true. Or it's a step back from people who have done regular expeditions, maybe for their entire lives, but who are getting into retirement and who want to take it easy and who want to actually have a vacation and not need a vacation from their vacation at the end. You know, it's
we need that
lovely like middle ground, you know.
I'm up on 8. I got some blows at 11 o'clock on the shoreline. I don't know if it's just humpies or if it's more.
Copy. I will be there shortly. So one really cool thing about expedition cruising is that we are always on the lookout for wildlife. And right now, we have some reports of whale action in the vicinity. Go ahead, Bridge.
Just for your information, we are getting closer to those.
Great, I'll be right there.
So you know what?
I have to go.
So we're going to pause because we want to go too.
Right? We all need to go.
Thank you.
Now we want to show you a little bit of what the excitement is all about. Oh yeah, I see the spray.
Yeah, they're just really far. Yeah, that's the blow. So my bad. Those two that I thought were the humpback whale were too big names.
Oh yeah.
Too big names.
Down without her head over.
Right?
I don't need.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, there's another whale here. There's some more up here.
I can't pin.
That way.
Where?
Yeah, wow.
Oh yeah, I see way over there. I see far left.
Oh.
Hello, my friends. This is Jess. I'm up on the bridge. We have Orca. There are Orca out here. We are taking a look at them right now and repositioning. I want to make everyone aware we're looking at right now it's about our 10:30 off the ship. So if the bow is 12 o'clock, it's our 10:30. However, we are turning and we're probably going to get them at our 1 o'clock, maybe our 2 o'clock. We have to keep a very specific distance from them and make sure that we don't interrupt their behavior.
Look through the
They are kind enough to allow us into their environment, so we're going to be good neighbors. and we're going to manage our distance accordingly. That's my job up here in the bridge, so you don't worry about it. But if you're ever wondering, wow, where are they repositioning themselves to? That's why. So we will be very conscientious of them, and hopefully they will stick around and let us view them for a little while. All right, my friends, enjoy.
Oh, wow. Oh my God. 5 of them. Oh. They know we're watching.
Yeah.
Oh, I saw his face. Oh my God. Oh my God. I can't even believe it. Oh my God. Oh, he's up. That's a, oh look at him, he's a little one. Those are kids. Oh, he's on his back. That's his belly.
Maybe they are doing something else.
Now he's waving. Are you kidding me?
You're looking at stuff through binoculars. I'm not seeing no legs.
Are you kidding? They're doing rollovers. He was on his back, flipping his tail. Oh my God.
Yeah. Maybe. I think they're showing off.
I think so too. There is no way that they're not putting it on for us. I mean, it's a full show.
Yeah.
Oh, there he is. They're unbelievable. Oh. Oh, look at the 4 of them. Oh, it was a face. Oh my God. Oh. There's one way to the left performing too. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh! Oh my God. There is no way they're not performing for us. There is no way. They want the attention. Oh my God, they're so gorgeous.
I'm working on that. Hold it.
Oh, hold them up.
Yeah.
That's a big boy. Oh, they are just gorgeous. They're unbelievable. Oh, that's a big daddy.
Whether or not it's a bunch coming together doing like a super club, which they do occasionally, like multiple groups they get together, maybe haven't seen each other in a while, or whether they travel around together, it's a great question. Yeah. But this is an extraordinarily large group. I've been up here since summer season. I've never seen a group this big.
Wow. Oh.
It turns out that was 3 families of orcas that we were able to see. It was just unbelievable, as you can tell by my gasping, and we'll never forget it.
Wow, I certainly hope you loved our chats with Desha, Christina, and Jess. We really enjoyed spending time with them. Christina was one of my Zodiac drivers on the first day I was on there, and we kind of spent a good amount of time in other times when we were on the ship, because I loved asking her a lot of questions, and she's so knowledgeable about the wildlife. At one point, it was actually a different day. We were outside and we saw a bunch of otters, and there was an otter mom with a pup on her chest. And Christina was telling us all about how the otter moms will let the sea kelp, which is big seaweed, guys. It really is. It's actually tastes pretty good. I tried some. But they would let the sea kelp babysit the pups. So they would take their pups, wrap them up in the seaweed and the kelp, and then go do what they need to do. And then they come back and get the baby and then just float along. We saw a lot of otters. I was shocked at how big they were. So that was a lot of fun. Next week, you're going to hear from Olin, who is from Cal Poly, and he loves seaweed. We actually did a little art project with seaweed. And then you're also going to hear from Sophia, who is another whale specialist, super, super passionate about them, and just really a great conversation. So we hope you listen in for next week, and have a great night, everyone.